that I point out that in doing this DVD, it is not my intention to turn out a whole new generation of card hustlers, card cheaters. I merely expose these moves in an academic way and show you their applicability to magic. Specifically, I show you how the art of the hand mucker is applicable to the art of magic. And remember that you are observing me very closely. The camera is on me and I cannot misdirect the camera. And remember that if a hustler were being observed as closely as you are now observing me, they would get up and leave. Because no matter how good they are, if they are that closely observed, they are going to get caught. And if a hustler is observed that closely, he simply gets up and he leaves, looks for another game. Now the movies depict card hustling gamblers as romantic figures, adventurous men. That's far from the truth. If card cheating were as romantic as it is depicted in the movies, I would be cheating at cards, and I wouldn't be in the movies. And most certainly, I wouldn't be doing this DVD. Greetings. We're going to explore the world of the hand mucker. I know that you've all heard the term hand mucking. It is a term that is used by card mechanics, card cheaters, call them what you will, to describe the holding out of a card without the aid of any mechanical devices such as a machine, hold-out machine, or a bean shooter, a best hold-out. The card is concealed in the hand. It never goes up the sleeve under the coat. And this takes a little bit of audacity to sit in a game and have a card concealed and wait for the opportunity to use it. Now, I've heard it said that the bottom deal is the strongest sleight of hand maneuver that a card hustler can use. But that's not the case. Even marked cards, playing paper is stronger. Why? Because you have an opportunity to use the information you're getting from the marked cards every time that a hand is dealt. And with the bottom deal, you can only use it when you're dealing. And likewise with hand mucking, holding out a card. Every time that a hand is dealt, you have an opportunity to take advantage of the game. And what does it require? Hand mucking requires a lot of practice and a lot of audacity and a lot of confidence. You have to act as though you don't have anything in your hands while you're talking, while you're handling the chips. All the time that I've been talking to you, for example, I've had card palm. Of course, the card in its present position is what we commonly call the magician's palm. However, contrary to popular belief, the professional hand mucker uses both what we call the magician's palm and the gambler's palm. Now, it is rather easy to convert the gambler's palm to the magician's palm. Let me show you. There we are in the magician's palm. And now, we're in the gambler's palm. and back to the magician's palm. Let me show you how that happens. The second and third fingers push the card back. The little finger and the thumb grasp the card, and we're in the gambler's palm. Now we go to the magician's palm. How does that happen? We are in the gambler's palm. The thumb pushes the card forward while the first finger presses inward, putting the card into the magician's palm. And now we're going to demonstrate how the card is stolen. The first steal that I'm going to show you is called the machine break. Break is a term used by handmuckers to describe stealing of the card. They call it a break-off, breaking off the card. And the reason this particular move is called the machine break is because it is the move that is used by machine men to steal the card, introduce it into the machine so that they can take it up their sleeve. Let me demonstrate it for you. The cards are picked up, and as the hustler looks at his cards, deciding whether to play them or not, he finds a card that he may want to steal, and he steals it. It's the machine break. The card goes into the gambler's palm. Let me illustrate that again. Let me do it one more time for you. There it is, in the palm. This is how it happens. The card to be stolen is pushed away from the other cards, and the thumb pushes the card while the second finger pushes back. The card goes into position. It's grasped between the little finger and thumb. Let me do that again. And then the hand is thrown away. That's the machine break. Before we continue, there are a couple of points that I want to make. Many of the moves that you're seeing are standard moves. Moves that have been done by others or that have been used for a long time. Many of the moves are original. They are my moves, or they are versions of standard moves. Also, it is important to remember that everything you see on this DVD has been done in an actual game. None of these moves are magicians' versions of what might have happened or might happen or how it might be done. The nuts and bolts, what actually happens, every move that you see has been used under fire in actual play. Another thing you must remember is, as you look at what I'm doing, you must remember that you are observing closely. And if I were sitting at a game, or any hustler were sitting in a game moving, and they were being observed as closely as you are observing, they wouldn't move. They simply wouldn't move at all, no matter how good a mechanic they are. And a move at times you may say, well, gee, I saw him do that. Sure, you saw me do it. That's because you knew what was going to happen. But these are, again, the actual moves that are used by hustlers, some of which I invented. I will call your attention to them. And some that are standard moves. Also, as we continue, I am going to show you how these moves can be adapted for use in magic. I will show you tricks involving these very moves, the gambler's moves applied to magic. At this point, I'm going to show you my version of the machine break-off, one of my versions, which is much faster than the standard move. I'm going to steal that card. I stole it. Let me do that again. I stole it. Let me show you how that happens. The thumb and the first finger grasp the card, and the second finger assists, and this is what happens. The card is pushed into the gambler's palm. Let me do that again. The thumb and the first finger, the second finger assisting. Here we go again. Now I'm going to demonstrate another version of the machine break-off. Remember that I am not using a machine. I don't intend to use a machine. A hand marker holds out the card in his hand, stays on the table with it most of the time. At times, he will go off the table with the card and put it under his leg or in the crook of his knee, and we'll get to that. I will demonstrate when and how that happens. This particular version of the machine break-off is my invention and one of my favorites. Let me demonstrate it. I'm going to steal that card. The card is stolen. Let me do that again. The card is stolen. Do it one more time. The card is stolen. Here's how it happens. The thumb pushes on the corner of the cards, and the second finger. There, the cards are bent, as you will see. And the card goes into the gambler's palm, and then the hand is thrown away. Perhaps you're wondering why I'm showing you the different versions of the machine break-off. The reason is that the different versions are applicable to different games, or they are applicable to your position on the table, and a lot of it has to do with timing, whether the game is a slow game, a fast game. For instance, in a fast game, one would want to steal the card as quickly as possible. And I developed a one-hand method of stealing the card. Let me demonstrate it for you. I'm going to steal that card. I stole it. Let me do that again. I stole it. Do it again. I stole it. I look at my cards. I stole it. I'll show you how that happens. Do that again. The thumb pushes the card. One more time. Now that finger movement is hidden. When you turn your hand over, you don't see it. Remember the magician's axiom that the larger move hides the smaller move. If I do it slowly, you would notice the finger movement. But if I do it quickly, it's barely visible. Here's another version of the machine break-off. Again, one of my inventions. And this is probably the cleanest of all the machine break-offs. Let me show it to you. I'm going to steal that card. And we stole it. Do that one more time. And we stole it. And this is how it's done. The cards are anchored. Between the little finger and the third finger. And the thumb of the left hand. At the opposite corner. Cards are bent slightly forward, and the card pivots into position. So that it looks like this. Again. I call that the pivot move. I don't know why. And here's another version of the machine break-off, with a different grip on the cards. In this version, the forefinger is bent back. As the cards are about to be thrown away, the finger straightens out. We'll do that again. This next version of a break-off involves what we call the magician's palm, and as I pointed out previously, hand markers use it all the time. There are times to use it, and there are times to use the gambler's palm. Let me illustrate it for you. We're going to steal the top card. Do that again. One more time. You sure how that's done? It's the card to be stolen. The little finger pulls the top card back. The thumb grasps the cards. The right hand comes to take them away. The hand is discarded. Do that again. Do it again now at normal speed. One more time. The little finger pulls that card back. The thumb grasps that corner, holds it in position. The other hand comes over the cards, goes into the gambler's, into the magician's palm, and it's thrown away. Do it one more time. And now another version of a break-off into the magician's palm. Do it again. Let me teach you how to do that. The thumb pushes the card. Oh, it's about half of an inch or 3/8 of an inch. Let me turn it upside down so that you can see it. And as the hand grasps the cards to throw them away, and now we have another version of the break-off into the magician's palm. This is how it's done. The cards are held, the corner and the crotch of the thumb, and the first, second, and third fingers on the side. As I turn my hand over, the card is swung into the palm. At this point, I want to digress for a moment and talk about the proper way of executing the magician's palm. My dear old friend Di Vernon used to watch me palm a card, and he would say, Tony, the thumb, watch the thumb. And I had that habit. I would, not usually, but at times I would get careless and my thumb would be sticking up as though I were hitchhiking, which is very, very common. I observe it all the time. And let me show you what I mean. I just palmed the card. The proper way to palm the card is to have an imaginary line from the tip of the little finger to the base of the thumb. Pressure here. These fingers are not controlling the card. It is held in place with pressure from the little finger to the base of the thumb. Now this is the bad habit, the thumb. I know you've all seen that. It's a dead giveaway. I mean, it looks as though you're hitchhiking. And that's something that has to be overcome. We all have a tendency to do this. And it takes a lot of practice to get away from it. And this is the exercise that I developed many, many years ago to cure that hitchhiking. Notice when I steal the card, it goes into that same position. Doesn't make any difference how I take it. It's always in that same position. You may have noticed that when I do the magician's palm, the card is not always anchored at the base of the thumb. Sometimes the card is held in position with the thumb. The card goes into the crotch of the thumb, and the card is not flush with the palm. That enables you to drop the card much easier, much faster. For instance, in playing the brush, the card drops immediately. Just another variety, another version of the magician's palm. In the Victorian and Edwardian books on magic, we find the words equipment or an equipment, which simply meant showing the hands empty, showing that nothing was concealed in the hands. Card hustlers also have equipments. Well, they don't say, here, my hands are empty. They simply do things with their hands that one would not ordinarily do if they had something concealed in their hand. Let me demonstrate. Adding into the pot. Now that isn't hard to do. The palm card is anchored between the little finger, the third finger, and the thumb. These three fingers are free. You pick up the chip, you throw it into the pot. Pick up the chip, or chips, throw them into the pot. And that's what you call a hustler's equipment. So far, I've shown you a lot of break-offs, holdouts, magician's palm, gambler's palm. The question arises, how does one avoid suspicion when one has a card palmed? The answer is very simple. You pretend that you don't have it palmed. cards as they are dealt. There's the palm card. And notice the position of the palm card. And now we're going to add the palm card to the rest of the cards. Let me do that again. Let me show you how that happens. We do that one more time. The second finger pulls the card into position. Then you look at the cards. Of course, you're looking at 6 cards instead of 5. That is a decided advantage. Now I'm going to demonstrate another method of adding the stolen card, the palm card, to the dealt hand. There's the palm card. Cards are dealt. Do that again. Now this is how it happens. Palm card. As the cards are picked up, the thumb releases the corner of the card. And as the cards are picked up, the card goes to the bottom of the cards. And then the thumb and forefinger grasp the cards and bring them up. Do that one more time. Cards are being dealt. And again, we're looking at 6 cards instead of 5. Another advantage. And now we're going to talk about a very important part of hand mucking, cleaning up or getting rid of the extra card, the card that we don't need. An opportune time to do that is when a hand is discarded and you get rid of the odd card on those cards. On the deadwood, you clean up on the deadwood. Let me show you how that happens. Now we have arranged the cards, and we're going to get rid of the card that's on the bottom. That's the one that we don't need. What we do, we steal the card and clean it up on the deadwood. Now, getting rid of that card cleanly is very important. One could just take the cards and push them aside in that manner, and some people do it just that way. However, it is much cleaner to turn your hand over as you push them aside. Let me do that one more time. There's the deadwood. And that's a cleanup. Sometimes one doesn't have an opportunity to clean up on the deadwood. What does one do then? Let me show you. That's a nice hand. As you noticed, when I raked in the chips with the card in my palm, when I arrived near the edge of the table, I spread my fingers and placed the card in what I call the gambler's thumb palm. I'm going to show you how to do that. The card is in the gambler's palm. The second and third fingers are simply pushed back, and the fingers are spread with the card in the thumb. Let me do that again. Here we are in the gambler's palm. Second and third fingers push it back. The thumb grasps it. And we're in the gambler's thumb palm. And now we get back into the gambler's palm. That's real easy. All you do is you bend your fingers. When you bend your fingers, the card will automatically be in position. All you have to do then is open your hand. Back with the thumb palm. And now we're back in the gambler's palm. There are other ways of getting rid of that extra card at the last minute. Let me show you. The cards are spread out. The hand is shown. I noticed that the cards are on this side of the chips, so we want to get them out of the way so that we can bring in the chips. So we pick up the hand and we throw it away. Let me do that again. This is the card we're going to get rid of. The hand is spread. And as the cards turn over, you simply take the card and you put it underneath the other cards and throw it away. I'll do that again. Now, when that's done with speed, it's not noticeable. There are many applications of hand mucking. One of the ways of beating blackjack is hand mucking. The idea is to steal a card, a 10-count card, or perhaps a 9, and look at your hand and switch that picture card for a smaller card. In this case, I have a jack and a deuce. So I have a 12. I have a jack of hearts palmed. If I can switch in the jack for the deuce, I will have a 20, which is a very good hand. How does that happen? The cards are dealt. Pick them up, look at them, and put them back. I now have the deuce. And we have here a 20. Let me show you how that happens. As we pick up the cards, the palm card goes underneath the other two. We look at the hand. Now we palm the top card into the magician's palm. Let me do that again. I'll do it face up. Cards are dealt. You pick them up to look at them. You steal the top card. There's a silver card. I'm going to do that series of moves one more time. The cards are dealt. There's the palm card. We pick them up. We introduce the palm card. We look at the hand. We put the cards back under the chips. And the switch has been made. This is how it happens. It's the palm card. This is the hand dealt. As we pick up the cards, the thumb releases the palm card, and the little finger and third finger retain control of the card. And the card slides beneath the other two. And we pick them up. We now have 3 cards. And the cards are literally palmed, all 3 cards. Then the little finger pulls back the top card. And the thumb drops. The thumb and forefinger take hold of the 2 cards and put them under the chips. And the switch is completed. I'm going to do that one more time. There's the hand. It's the palm card. Pick them up. Look at the hand. Under the chips. And we got the money. With a 20. That one-handed blackjack move that I just showed you is my invention. I invented it years ago. There are still some places, perhaps, where you can use 2 hands. Let me show you the standard move that used to be used by all the old-time handmuckers beating a blackjack game. this is how it happens. Cards are picked up. The palm card comes over the other two. Notice that the top card is jogged a little bit forward. This card is dropped on top of the other two. The out-jogged card is grasped with the little finger and the third finger into the gambler's palm. And the cards go under the chips. I'll do that face up. There are the two cards. Out-jogged. Now, face down. We got a 20. That'll get the money. Now I'm going to show you a couple of whole card switches. Every time I think of playing stud poker and switching the whole card, I think of Gus the Ghost. He was a gentleman that was the manager of a card room in Seattle, Washington. It was called the Owl Card Room, and they had nothing there but stud poker games. They had about 15, 20 tables. A lot of retirees would play, and middle-aged gentlemen that didn't have anything else to do would go and spend a couple of hours playing stud poker. They were not expensive games. It was a 10-cent ante, 25 cents on an open pair, 50-cent bet on the last card. But one could sit down for a couple of hours and win $20, $30, $40 and expense money. And when you cashed in, you would give Gus the Ghost a third of the money. Now, the reason they call the old Greek gentleman Gus the Ghost is because of his very pale complexion, and all of the hustlers would always refer to him as Gus the Ghost. And I played there for about a year. I would go in once or twice a week, had nothing else to do, pick up $30, $40. The last time I played, when Gus cashed me in, he said, "Tony," he says, "this is it." He says, "You got too much heat." And that was the end of Gus the Ghost. Let me show you the move that I used to use. There's the card, the whole card that I'm going to switch. We come down to look at the hand, and we switch. Let me do that again. This is how it's done. There's the palm card. We're going to look at the whole card, as we do. The thumb releases. Do that again. That'll get the money. Now we're going to make the same move with one hand only, with the side to the table. There it is. This is how it's done. The card is released with the thumb. The first finger and the thumb seize the card. One more time. In the early days of the Magic Castle, back about 1964, I showed my dear old friend Di Vernon a hole card switch that I had invented. Several years later, in a book called Revelations, the move was revealed, and Vernon wrote that the move had been shown to him by an Oregon gambler. When I saw that, I asked Vernon, why did you tell them that the move had been shown to you by a gambler from Oregon? And he said, Tony, I didn't think you would want it known that you had been a card hustler. Well, I'm that Oregon gambler. And here's the move that I showed Vernon. Now I am going to show you how to do the Oregon Gambler move. It's the same old hole card switch, excepting that the left hand pushes the card forward. Let me do that again. Again, you pretend to look at the card, and this hand moves forward. This hand remains static, it doesn't move. The left hand moves forward and puts the whole card in place. Again, this hand remains static. The left hand withdraws. And the move is completed. Now I'm going to show you a whole card switch with two cards. It is adaptable to the game of 7-card stud, where you have two whole cards, and to various other games, also to magic tricks, which I will show you later on. And there I have the two aces and the magician's palm. And I'm going to switch them for these cards. That move I just did, switching the two cards. I remember, I don't know why I remember where I thought of it, but it happened to be in San Francisco when I invented the move. So I associate the move with San Francisco. Let me show it to you. There are the two cards to be switched. They're in the magician's palm. Pick up the two cards held in that position, and as this hand approaches, the first finger extends and the cards are placed directly into the two fingers. Then the first finger of the right hand bends back, and the cards are palmed, the magician's palm, and the switch is completed. Let me do that again. Here are the cards to be switched. As we approach, finger bent back. And the cards have been switched so that it looks like this. Another two-card switch. This particular switch is good for blackjack. That is, if you can find a blackjack game where you can get away with it. Modernly, it would be impossible, but there was a time when you could get away with it. It was one of those things that you do once and run. It's a one-bet proposition. You manage to steal two cards, a blackjack, and you switch them in instantaneously the minute the cards are dealt. Let me show it to you. These are the two cards that are dealt. They're picked up and immediately turned over. How do we do that? Let me show you. Notice that the cards are grasped with the thumb in the corner, and all four fingers holding the card slightly bent. The little finger is holding these cards in position. If we turn loose the little finger and move, the cards will turn over and fall to the table. And at that point, the cards are palmed. Do that again. Cards are palmed. One more time. Cards in the gambler's palm. Francisco, and the switch that I invented while in San Francisco reminds me of a poem recited by the old hustlers about a pimp in San Francisco. It goes like this. Jerry the Gimp was a half-assed pimp that I knew back in 1905. He had a girl named Bucktooth Pearl that barely kept him alive. Now, she wasn't the toast of the Barbary Coast, though she earned their bread and butter, while Jerry sat on his skinny brat in a room at Polk and Sutter. Now, a pimp was supposed, when the house is closed, to pick up his twist and twirl, and if they had the jack, they'd hire a hack, but not little Jerry and Pearl. I'll have you know they saved their dough to beat that 3-mile hike, and though things were tough, they saved enough, and Jerry purchased a bike. He ceased to walk, and he became the talk of the boys and the girls on the stem. Yes, Jerry the Gimp, the bicycle pimp, was something new to them. He'd meet her there at the foot of the stair, and they'd head for Polk and Sutter. Jerry would whistle a song as he pedaled along, while poor old Pearl trod along in the gutter. One night in a dump, she clipped a jump for $1,000 or more. She laughed and she cried as she ran outside and handed Jerry the score. Jerry said, "Kid, by what you did, you proved that you're all right. So I'm going to swallow my pride and let you ride on the handlebars tonight." Jerry the Gimp, the bicycle pimp.